babe, you don't always have to be strong for you. Let me do some of that for both of us. Like, that's me saying, I'm right here. Isn't that what you want?
Yes.
And just let that be, you
Like
know?
literally.
A brother said, let that be. Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. Listen, we're giving you guys a live talking about the Never Ever Meets season 1, episode 8. Listen, it's crazy in the dunya again once more. You look, it's crazy out there. We've got Greg and Millie, who seemingly went into the boom boom room and some boom boom was happening, okay? And since the boom boom is happening, I see that, Millie might be loosening up a little bit. I mean, the boom boom happened after they had a little thingy, but who knows anyway. And then we have obviously also Jodi and Aaron. They got to have a conversation with the coach, and the coach called Jodi all the way out. And thank God, because we are sick and we are tired of seeing this tomfoolery, shambolic scenery, and we just need them to come clean. Okay, all right, because we're sick and tired of seeing it. All right, and then we had Dymond and Aaron. They got their comeuppance. I mean, the dessert was served absolutely freaking cold. And the whole group, kind of let them know that y'all been too nosy doing some Pinocchio business in our business. They told him what they felt about them, and I think rightly so, and so Dymond and Aaron, got to show their particular side of things as well, when it came to, their particular coaching session as well. And then we also had Sandia, and we also had Chris, which I think Chris released a bit more information. And like I said, Chris, he's not a hard nut. Yeah, Chris is a big ass softy. Yeah, who has been hurt and doesn't know how to process the hurt. Okay, what he needs is a good old coach and some good old therapy. Okay, all right, he needs a good old coach and therapy. Now he may deny it all he wants, but he gonna need a good ass coach and he gonna need some therapy. Okay, because he running from emotions. Okay, all right, he need Destiny's Child, emotions on the outside. And then we also have last but not least, Josh and Shay. We had Dymond were forever trying to cause a carnage between the two of them. Unfortunately, or fortunately, how you really look at it, Josh and Shay have overcome that battle, but not without launching their own grenades at Dymond and Aaron for their shenanigans that they put in there. And let's be very honest, I think what we saw with obviously Josh and Shay, I was cool with them. I think they're gonna make it through. I mean, I'm sure they got their own shenanigans that they've been through in the last 12 years. It's not been pretty, and I'm sure if we're watching from outside, we probably say they should quit. But you know what? Sometimes when you're in it, it's a different ball game. You know what I mean? You're 12 years deep. Okay, so I'm not here to shoot anybody down, but if that Alexis thing isn't true, then that's a very cruel thing to be saying. If it is true, it gonna come out eventually one way or another. So we gonna find out. But anyway, listen, we gonna get into some conversation. Me and Jay gonna chop it up and obviously take it to another level and just have some real deep conversation with y'all. So I hope you guys are ready for some good introspective, deep, intellectual conversation, digging deeper into relationships, and obviously exposing more about what we actually see on that screen. So make sure you guys do me a massive favor. You're liking, you're sharing, and you are subscribing to the channel. And thank you for all those people who are joining the coaching as well. Next week, I am launching the next part of my coaching, which will be group sessions. Yes, I need about 20 people, no more than 20. I can't do any more than that. The rest of y'all can get lost. No, I'm joking. I need only about 20 people. And it won't be pay what you want. It'll be a specific price. So I'm doing an introductory offer. It's going to be £30, which is probably going to be for you guys around about 35, almost $40, I think it is slightly. And it'll be a group session running for 4 weeks. And I will tackle first 4 weeks we're tackling boundaries. So if you're somebody that's suffering with boundaries, and a lot of you are, because you tell me all the time, so we know. Okay, so I decided to listen to the crowd and listen to what people are saying, and we're going to be dealing with boundaries first. All right, so boundaries with family, boundaries with friends, and boundaries with loved ones as well. It's going to be really interactive. So if you are going to be joining the group session, this ain't one of those things I'm going to talk for an hour. I don't have it in me. Okay, so we're going to be doing interactive stuff. That means exercises in between. Okay, breakout rooms, conversation. Y'all going to be coaching each other. Oh, Y'all didn't know. Okay, so I hope you guys are ready when I launch that next week. So you guys will also, if you want to jump on that, it'll be amazing. It'll be good to see you guys as well on that. And I'll tell you more about that during the course of the week as we go on. And my final announcement also is we have Patreon Day, I think on the 29th. So I know I haven't been doing much Patreon stuff. I am doing a Patreon day. We did one a few months ago where we do like a late night conversation. We do breakout rooms. We have conversations in groups. It's wavy, and I think that's on the last. I think I did it on the last Tuesday of the month. I think it's in my notes. I'll put it in the chat for you guys as well, so you guys can join that. The first one will be free. I'm not going to charge anybody because I think I haven't been good to you guys in terms of being consistent with that. But we're going to have a Patreon day every month. Okay, so I got to stick to that. I'm being consistent. The Lord's been whipping my ass about being consistent. So. Okay, all right, cool. Listen, enough of the announcements like it's church. All right, let's get into the conversation, and let's first get Jay's just initial thoughts on this episode, and then we can dive into some of the couple as well. Jay, talk to me. What was your initial thoughts of this particular episode? How did you feel about it? What was popping up? What was standing out?
Before I get into the episode, you got 2 phones now, so you know that calendar can be working for you. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and put that in there so you know what day you got to deal with your Patreons, what day we got these group sessions going on. I might have to sign up for them too, because I love hearing other people's stories. You know, it helps me through mine. No, it actually does, though. It really does help me through mine. So I'll be sitting here like, ooh, okay, well, I might could handle that a little bit better since you went a little soft on it. I'll be going a little hard. So putting a banana in the tailpipe wasn't a good idea. Okay, all right. Well, oh, so I can actually get a citation. I can go to jail for that. Oh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't then. All right. I be needing people to talk me back off the ledge.
It's a little crazy, you know.
You know, that's all. But back to this episode, I would say this first and foremost. This show, produced, unproduced, unscripted, I don't know what it is. You know, I see people trying to produce the show themselves and do whatever. But the truth is, it is actually showing a lot of these people's true characters, their true natures, and what they operate out of. And I'm starting to see that a lot more people are operating out of fear than in love. You know, and then the few couples or the few people that I see that are operating out of love, you could kind of tell, like Greg operates out of love. He's in a space of love. He has a bit of fear that he's processing, he's working through, but most of him is operating out of love. But you have people on the other hand, Millie, Jodi, Aaron, Jay, Dymond herself, you know, those people are operating out of fear. And fear makes you do some weird things sometimes, like not be honest with a person that you consider as a friend, at the least. You know, be triggered by a whole nother person you're not even dealing with. Make you say things like women they operate too much out of emotions and not logically. And, you know, that you can't really listen to them, or you will never want to be in a household where you make less than a woman. Those are all fear-based domains that make you do that. Staying in other people's business all day while not dealing with your own. You're afraid of dealing with your own mess that you rather create and start and stir up other people's. Those are all fear-based driven things. So no matter the age or the status in this house, everybody's operating in the same realm. So everybody literally is on the same playing field, which is funny that some people pedalize themselves over others based off of certain things.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's a lot of things going around with different couples as well, and I think, you know, when you look at some of the behaviors, yeah, I think you're mentioning obviously Chris and some of his behaviors, and you know, Chris is one of them, and you know, Greg is really trying as well with Millie, and you can see he's holding a safe space for Millie, and Millie's just really giving me. I kind of held off not saying it, and maybe I'll research a bit more, but Millie's really given me fearful avoidant. I've really been doing a lot of research around that attachment styles, but mainly around fearful avoidance, and they're quite an interesting bunch, I can't lie to you. You know, an interesting bunch, because avoidance and anxious people are quite easy to spot because of the way that they operate. We've got one leaning in, we've got one leaning out, it's quite easy. Fearful avoidance are really weird because they do both. So sometimes when you're pressuring them too much, they become avoidant. When you're going away from them, they become anxious. So you almost kind of see them in different shades and different lights. But they really do have a lot of things kind of going for them in a sense of like, a lot of them come from obviously dysfunctional, abusive backgrounds, right? So, we obviously know a little bit more about Billy and Millie, what she's going through and stuff like that, in terms of how they may relate to other people and how they have relationships. But watching Millie and Greg, it's quite interesting because obviously, she, spoke about how she wanted that hug and everything like that, blah, blah. And it's kind of the first time we've kind of heard her voice, those kind of thoughts as well, as well going forward. Dymond and Aaron as well, I felt like, they got their comeuppance, but not just comeuppance, but I think also because they were mentioning about how there were certain things that were being said, they were, she telling him that she loves him behind the scenes. I'm like, why is she saying it behind the scenes and we ain't never heard it? I said, why isn't she saying it to other people? I know that they're saying it behind the scenes, but it's just like, why haven't we heard it? But you talking about everybody else. You know what I mean? Yeah, Jay, go for it.
But then I have a theory on that because I was saying the same thing too. Why aren't you saying it? Maybe as much as he is, but then maybe he's saying it a lot. Maybe he's just a love bomber. Maybe he's making it, he has to go around to prove his love, not to her, but to himself and everybody else around. Maybe that's the thing, is maybe it's, if things go wrong, it's not going to be on me because everybody's seeing me saying, I love her, I love her, I love her. That's my Dymond. That's my baby. That's my. To be honest, it's giving, you're still fighting for that place you lost by making that false Facebook proposal. You're still trying to get in her good graces. Because a lot of things that Aaron does do is he likes to tell how Aaron J don't have a voice. He likes to tell other people, all these other men, how they need to speak up. They need to do this. But you actually agree with everything that Dymond says. You give a voice, and as soon as she gives you pushback, you go onto her side. She sat there and was telling you how the men is messy and how Josh feels that she feels is some type of way. And he says, oh, I see how, he can look at it this way. You were being a little messy in that moment. Oh, you're a man. You don't understand. Well, no, I see you're just being girl code. Then when Taronda spoke up against Chris and said that women was up here and men is here, you'll hear Aaron H in the background scream, yeah, I feel that way too. Do you? Do you really feel that women is up here and men is here? Let's remind you, you're told us that you came from a domestic situation, and I'm not trying to use this against you or whatever, but do you worship women in that regards, that you feel that they're up here and that they're not here? Or somewhere in this floating area with one another? Because to be honest with you, I feel like Taronda's a bit wrong in that statement myself. You know what I'm saying? Like we're about equal. We're here. We have our aspects where we're good at, and we need each other for, future purposes. I can't make a baby with another woman, period, without some type of intervention or something, like some mechanical thing, some engineering from medicine, science, or whatever and stuff like that. I cannot naturally make that, but with a man, I can actually do that. So there's things that we need each other for, purposes that we have each other for in our life. God didn't make no mistakes. So I be questioning sometimes with Aaron H on, are you just love bombing the hell out of Dymond? She's manipulative. So, I mean, y'all probably trying to manipulate each other at the end of the day too. So I really don't know where it's going and what it's given. Is she not saying it enough, or are you saying it too much?
You ain't telling no lies. Okay, well let's get the first couple out the way. Let's deal with. Well, I guess we had Greg and Millie on, so we can deal with them. We can watch a little bit of the clip and then we'll play them and follow that.
Please take me, hold me in your hands. Like, look, Millie, it will never happen to you again. I'm here for you. Give me the biggest hug ever. I need a hug.
There go your hug right there. Boom, bam. Good job.
Okay, so Greg and Millie. Okay, so here's my theory. I'm going to talk about theory because I don't know if it's true. If I take Millie as a fearful avoidant perspective attachment style, here's what I feel like is going to be hard to deal with, right? Is that we have seen her in different spats, right? That anger, that underlying anger that's at that place, is going to be, I think the person I was listening to someone, she called it the crash, when basically a fearful avoidance crash, basically when they're overwhelmed, when there's too many emotions, when they have a whole bunch of doubts in their head swimming about, and doesn't necessarily mean the relationship's bad. They just start doubting things. This is how their mind starts working, right? They almost like they're kind of going into sabotage mode. They go into this crash mode, and where anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. They dish it. You know what I mean? And they go into crash mode. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Millie and how she dealt with Chris, and almost how she kind of dealt with Greg a little bit towards the end of a couple episodes ago as well. Now, the difficulty behind this, if you don't understand fearful avoidance, it's a very difficult scenario. See, most people understand dismissives and anxious people because we actually kind of see them in the world a lot. So we kind of be like, oh, if someone's dismissive, we can go like, that person's always like detaching themselves. You kind of know it before you even know the thing. But fearful avoidance can be really tricky because you can get close to them and then they suddenly want to detach, and then one time they want to be anxious, and so they want to be pulling you in. So you're always almost in a space of like limbo sometimes at points in time. And I'm seeing with Millie, like here we just saw her like really like hold me, pull me in. Da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, last time we heard her cousin, saying, "Don't get too close to me." Oh, he just wants to sleep with me. So it's like suddenly you've got these kind of like juxtapositions that are happening. So if you're not paying attention and you're not actually able to have that grace and understanding, it's going to be very difficult to want to deal with somebody on the long term when they have these kind of behaviors. So that was my only kind of thing. But I mean, I like the fact that she was open to getting closer to him, and I know they went to the boom boom room. I don't know if that's played a role in. I don't know which came first. I don't know the edit of the scene. If not, then it is what it is. But if that plays a role, I think obviously I saw Greg in a better light this time again. I thought Greg was sturdy. I think he held his position quite well. He spoke, I think, calm and fitting words, in that moment, saying, hey, look, I know you got a lot of fear, but, I've got fear too, but I want to be able to make this work. And I felt that's what she needed, that kind of stability. And somebody who's a bit more calmer and doesn't react the way she reacts. I guess my question is whether he's actually calm or is he nonchalant? There's a big difference. If he's calm, is somebody who can take in your feelings and also have his own, and be able to assert themselves and let you know what their thoughts are, as well as taking in your emotions. But if he's nonchalant, it looks very similar to being calm until you realize the person's actually not taking on what you're actually saying. They just don't care. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing. I don't know which side it falls on as of yet. I'm gonna say lean on a good side and positive side. Say he's much more calm, and I think I'll work it from there. What's your thoughts, Jay?
Now that we're in post-nut clarity, I'll say a little bit. I mean, we're assuming. I don't really know, but we've gotten closer. This will be the determining factor of how he behaves moving forward, on if he's calm or if he's just nonchalant. So up until here, I'm gonna give him the benefit of doubt because he's been standing on the same spiel that he gave her before when she lashed out. He didn't back away from it again this time when they get to say it again, and she's still kind of having a similar reaction, not as harsh, but it's still that panic within her to say, I don't need a man. I don't, she softened up to sit there and be like, hold me when I'm, basically what Millie is saying is hold me when I'm crazy, hold me when I'm going nuts, calm me down, bring me back in. Fine, dandy and all, but how many times does a person have to continue to do that for you before you start to do it for yourself is the question. The things that Millie, Chris, Jodi, a couple other people probably need on this show, they need to receive from themselves. They can't, they're looking for other people to do this for them, but this is work that they have to do on themselves. I like, and I'm gonna say this to Millie, but it's something that Shay said when she talked to the doctor later, is that I'm working on calming myself down. That's the best thing that a person can ever say that they're doing, because that means that they're aware of where they fall short and they're making the effort to work on that about themselves. Nobody's having to tell them. They're doing it because this is the change that they want for themselves. That's the space that I kind of need Millie in, is I am working on that. She did say that a little bit in this, that she's working on her patience And, you know, when it came to forgiving him and giving him grace and stuff, she says, I'm working on my patience. I'm doing that. So I like that progress within her, that's saying, there's things about me that I don't like. These things, I don't want to hurt you using them. So I'm going to work on them. That gives your partner time to sit there and say, you know what, can I weather these storms with you? Or should I just exit out now? That gives them that moment to make their decision on what they want to do. Greg, you're making the decision in this moment to say, I stand by you. I need your intentions on that standing by her to be pure. Not standing by her to get the cookies because you're a womanizer or whatever, and you don't want to be, you're just going back into habits. I need you to be sure that this is what you want to do, regardless if it ends well with Millie or not. This is the change that you actually want to make for yourself. So if this is a change that Greg is willing to make for himself, to say, you know what, while I process through my changes, I'm willing to work with you through yours. Millie, you're going to have to give him the grace to say, you know what, thank you for working with me through mine. You can only help me so far. I got to help myself. So those days that she's having the moments, I need her to listen to that doctor when the doctor told Shay to be in the moment, calm down. Just relax, sit in this moment and really engage your body with what emotions you're having when you start to flare up. Because once we start to realize that we're about to flare up, we can calm ourselves down. When we realize we're starting to get mad, we know how to be like, you know what, you might be acting out right now. You might need to calm down and think about what's going on right now. So Millie has to find her calm button within herself, and she can't look for Greg to be giving her that all the time.
Yeah, and as you said that, it just made me think about, obviously, like I said, about the fearful avoidant. One of the things that they struggle to do is emotionally regulate themselves. So they usually are trying to get other parties to help them regulate, basically, right? The trouble with that is that if someone like Greg, right, I don't know if he's an avoidant or an anxious person. Now, if he's an avoidant, emotional volatility is the absolute bane of any dismissive avoidant person. They hate that stuff. They hate people being up and down. So it's going to be now trigger against trigger if he is that person. I don't know if he is a dismissive. I haven't really looked at him too deep. But that can be very difficult, right? So unless somebody is a very secure individual in their attachment style, it's very difficult because that person is having to regulate the other party. You know what I mean? So like you said, obviously, like you heard with Shay said, I'm working on it to work on that, right? But we haven't really heard Millie say that herself. We haven't really heard Millie take any accountability for that, or at least haven't showed us any of that yet from her behavior as to seeing it as being a problem. Rather, what she's looking for is almost a comfort, like you said, like that hold me. It's more looking for someone to comfort me, love me, care about me, etc., etc. Tell me that I'm okay when I've effed up. But the reality of the situation is you're not just effing up, but you're actually causing carnage, right? And you're believing that your behavior it's not affecting people. And this is when when your esteem is so low, you believe that your behavior actually isn't affecting people around you. You think that you're not harming anybody, but reality is your behavior is harming people, which is why we never saw really an apology for Chris. She thought she was okay with what she was doing and continued it onwards after and went on about it, right? And then even kind of lied a little bit because she didn't really tell the full truth about actually what happened between her and Chris when she was telling Greg the story, you know what I mean? And so we're seeing that lack of accountability, almost like not wanting to get in trouble. But the reality is you gonna need to regulate yourself. And I don't know if she's gonna do that just yet, you know? Which is why I think Shay kind of mentioned, you need to be patient, and Josh got into her, and then she was like, yeah, I am, guys. And it's like, no, baby, we need you to get on it. Like, don't block people. They're trying to tell you so that you can learn and grow from it, you know? Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. You're right. Once the sex happens, we're gonna know what he's made of. Is he gonna be okay? Is he gonna be ready to deal with it? And it may be that, listen, can I be honest with you? Sex makes everybody vulnerable. This is the one thing, especially when you like somebody, right? Sex makes people vulnerable. And so what ends up happening is that he may have thought he could deal with it. As soon as sex opens up that portal of vulnerability and you start feeling vulnerable, now you no longer feel that strength that you had beforehand, because beforehand you weren't sexually involved. Sex is a very wonderful thing, but it's also a very crazy thing that it opens you up. So whereas beforehand you might have been to yourself, I can handle this, I'm okay, she can have her little fits, I'll be cool. When you have sex and it opens you up now, and you're now vulnerable, and now you're realizing that actually she's shaking you down too, Yeah, you might react in a way, and now she's gonna be like, oh, and then what can happen is that confirmational bias. See, I gave him the sex, and look what happened. When really and truly, actually, baby, your behavior's mad, and you're not actually seeing that as well. You know what I mean? Sex can do it for both of them, actually. To be honest, it's not just one end.
Yeah, and the other flip side is you're not seeing it, ma'am, but he didn't check you in it either. And when it doesn't, is a lot of things, and I notice this about a lot of the people. They'll befriend you, they'll be cool with you, and watch you do madness to other people and never say anything to you about it until it gets directed to them, and now it's a problem. So, but what you do is tell that person you're okay with it. You're okay with that behavior. You know, when people sit there and say that I don't like to go out with people that don't tip, because they're looking in the future of how you're going to treat me, how you're going to behave with me. What is your attitude going to be with me? Some people won't even talk to you if they see you lash out at another person a certain way. Greg has watched Millie lash out at Chris several different times, but she loves to run up and say, I'm not going to do this to you. We get that with Aaron H. lashing out at different women, but tell Dymond, I'm not going to do this to you. You know, Shay stood by Dymond while Dymond did whatever to Jodi and all this stuff. And then now it's lashing out at her. Now it's a problem. You all stand by people and never say, you know what? I'm not trying to change you, but my boundaries say I'm not down for this. You let people be who they are until people are who they are with you. And now it's a problem. So Greg needs to regulate some of that with Millie. Hey, you cannot be firing off because you're triggered by this person. This is where you need to work on. And I ain't got to shut her all the way down, but it's just like, see there, Millie, hey, Millie, that's what we've been talking about. Remember, bring it in, ma, reel it in. Because that's also that comfort. That's also that hold me. That's that hug me. That's what if you're asking me to be accountable physically, I got to be accountable with you emotionally and spiritually too. I can't sit here and just tell you and hold you while you're being crazy and not tell you, hey, right now you're being crazy. Hey, you're being irrational right now. Don't pop off on these people right now. Don't let these people trigger you. So if Greg, you're going to be that common spirit, it can't just be in the physical realm. You're going to have to be that common spirit all the way around. And when you see her acting out on other people, you need to remind her, hey, this is not who you're trying to be anymore. I'm holding you accountable now. Now, she don't like it when you start holding her accountable on lashing out on other people, then brother, you need to walk away because it's only going to get worse. It's going to turn onto you one day because when nobody else is left, it only turns into the next person. It's never going to go to her before it goes to you. So.
No true word said. No true word said. Okay, cool. Let's shift it to another couple. Let's shift it to
People's relationship.
let's shift it to Dymond and Aaron. Let me get them on. Yeah.
Okay. You and your man.
She already said she has trust issues.
Let's be real right now. I never opened up to you about my trust issues. So don't say she got trust issues like you know, because you don't know me.
Shay is still a child, so she's not going to understand
Physical,
how
I'm a
I feel.
Damn. Dymond and obviously Aaron. They interesting bunch. They obviously, you know, they were on a hot seat as well, and you know, the group kind of put them on a little bit of heat. You know, they said to them, "Listen, hey, look, you guys, you were doing too much." So I want to get your perspective. What was your thoughts on Dymond and Aaron on this episode? Because obviously they've been termed obviously the messy couple. What's your thoughts on this too?
Well, as our resident eldest couple, you know, we got to display some leadership here. Get in the hot seat, take the smoke that people are giving you. Why give all this pushback? Why give all this fight if there's nothing true about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's not some truth, why do you feel inclined to be like, you guys are going to go down while we continue to go up? Why do you have to say, well, I'm not going to offer my advice no more. I ain't going to do this anymore. Just take the thing and say, you know what, y'all right. We've been in y'all mess a little bit too much. My bad. I thought we was helping you. I thought that's what we was doing. You know, I thought, you know, y'all needed some help. Y'all came to us for some guidance or whatever and stuff. My bad. But when you even got Greg chiming in and saying, and Greg has been kind of like one of the ones just kind of like off to his own, not really trying to be engaged in nobody's mess or whatever, but literally saying, you know, y'all be doing a bit much. Y'all doing a bit much. And I just think this was a wasted opportunity, some of these questions that they asked them, because again, what's good with this proposal? Why every time that gets brought up, we get it shut down so fast? However, it's okay for you to bring up everybody else's things. You want to know why other people not haven't introduced their people to their mama. You want to know why this one is over here not giving no emotions to that one and all that. You ain't never once asked about this proposal, why we can't have a real conversation with this and get shut down at every single turn. I don't know. I just felt like the heat could have been a little bit turned up a little bit more, but when the whole house is literally coming at you about the same thing that y'all in everybody business, it got to be some truth to it. And then it was funny to me. I seen Dymond throw Aaron H under the bus real quick. She was like, when they was like, you be in Jodi and Aaron J's business all the time. That's not me in the business. That's him. I was like, damn, stand by your man, sis. She pushed him out there real bad. She like, you on your own, brother. I ain't in the mess, but I'm confused. It's like, how do you say that's just him when it was you mad at him for not defending you when you decided to pipe up and tell Jodi about herself and how she was treating Aaron and all this stuff, and how it looked like her and Chris is a couple more than Chris and Sandia. Was that not you? Was that Aaron or you? I'm so confused. So I was like, ma'am, see, Aaron, look, watch out. Your old lady gonna throw you. She a queen pin. She gonna throw you under the bus before she go. So I don't know. I didn't hear no lies told, though. I didn't hear no lies told. And two things can be true, Aaron J. Yes, things can go on in the house that nobody else knows of, and people could feel a way about each other that nobody else understands. However, your delusional love affair with Jodi, my friend, it's not what you think it is. Jodi has no feelings towards you. So Aaron H. and Dymond are correct in their assessment on you. However, you are correct on things can happen in the house without them knowing. And it still be true. So I'll rest it there for now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the situation with Dymond and Aaron, I think this is just a perfect example of when you stick your nose in too much and you do it in a way that's also kind of not invited. When you give advice to people, you want to be invited to that place. Reason being, then it doesn't fall back on you. But whenever you invite yourself to places, that causes carnage. The reason why Shay reacted the way she reacted is because Dymond volunteered information without considering Shay, right? She keeps talking about how she was here for the girls, but didn't think about how this was going to be delivered. Didn't think that actually maybe she should sit down both Aaron and Shay and have a conversation. Hey, look, I don't believe this information is real, but I thought I should let you guys know this is what's going around. Maybe you guys should check thingy. Better off, she could have passed the number on to Shay and let Shay talk to Alexis one-to-one. But instead, Dymond wanted to be the spokesperson. Now, this is what happens when you become the spokesperson, right? This is what happens. You become a spokesperson, you got to be ready that you may off with your head. People who deliver the message oftentimes can be off with their head. We've all been there. We've been a friend to someone, and you have to be prepared that this may end with off with your head. But it's also as well about how I'm delivering that information, who I am to you, and the tone and the delivery of that particular message, right? And so, you already got an image, not even an image, but you have to think about what happened last time. They didn't get involved when you decided to go at Chris and Sandia. So now you already had your neck out on the line. So to come out and do another thing again, where your neck's on the line again, it's looking like you guys are being messy, or at least Dymond, your perspective, you talk too much. Right, and you're in people's business too much, and so I felt like that with Dymond and Aaron is that both of them are a problem, right? Aaron was intervening on Aaron's dad conversation, ridiculous. Literally volunteered information without even being asked, ridiculous. And it just showed a kind of like, you're not being an adult at that point. You're being a controlling helicopter. And at that point, you need to back up. You're not their parents, okay? And it's okay to offer information. We would love for people to be wise and share wise wisdom. It's important to, right? People grow and learn from those things. But it has to be invited. You don't just volunteer that information when you don't have a relationship of such with those people where you can relate that information. It gives high and mighty. This is why all your cohorts turned against you. It should tell you something. Something was wrong in the way it got handled, because they all turned against you, right? So, yeah, I just felt like it was just... that was a good indication of the fact that they could have taken some accountability and responsibility on some of their behaviors as to why this was happening to them and why they were getting called out at that point in time. And Dymond's response even there to Shay was like, oh, she's a little girl. Well, then, fam, if you think she's a little girl, then why are you trying to associate yourself with me? See, when you start doing that, you're belittling me. Why do you want to associate with that person, their little girl, right? So, yeah, it's something you need to work on. If you're going to be someone who's going to deliver the information, you got to uphold yourself to a different standard. But, hey, that's my perspective.
Here's a second thing, too, is in this moment, Shay tells the group as a collective, I have a trust issue, like something. She says it in this thing while they're playing this game, that, she has trust issues. As the eldest of the group, why would you take that and decide right now in this moment, let me throw that in your face? She has trust issues. What does that have to do with you being in their business, though? That doesn't negate what you did was messy. And it's not and we can argue all day about the point of her holding girl code and her telling Shay this, that, and the third. My stance is still going to be, if that's not your real friend, you don't really have no reason to tell her, because if that's your real friend, you would know if your friend wants to know this type of information or don't. This is a complete stranger that you're now divulging information that you don't have to. That was between Alexis and her. All you have to do, again, as the eldest in the group, is tell Alexis, hey, you need to reach out to Shay then. You need to tell Shay your information. I'm not about to relay the message for you. That's what you do as an elder, and that's how you stay out of it. On top of it, you want to sit here and call this girl, a child. She's this, that, and the third. Well, what are you teaching me as far as being an elder and respectable? Because what you're doing right now is being a little messy boost by sitting here, being in my face, telling me something about my man, and then standing beside me and tell me to still respect and love my man. That makes absolutely no sense when Dymond went and did that. Then when Shay asked you, well, how did this come up? That all sounded sketchy to me. It didn't just flow out her mouth with ease, like, hey, I was just talking to Alexis. She just brought it up, whatever, the general way. Now, I'm not saying that Alexis didn't divulge the information voluntarily on her own. But it should have just came out like, we was talking, we was catching up, and then she just decided to tell me. But it's she was asked, and she asked about y'all, and she just always asks about y'all and wanted to know how it is and all, how y'all doing and all this stuff like that. Well, child, give her my number, let her call me and see, she could tell me how she doing. Alexis ran around the house getting everybody's information before she left anyway. So that's what's weird about that part. So it's like, I mean, what is your end goal in a lot of this stuff? What is your true end goal? Are you actually trying to be the matriarch of the house? Are you trying to... It looks to me that she's trying to cause the chaos, break people up, so she could come in with the words of wisdom and be like, look how I fixed your situation. Because when you're standing over Shay and Josh, when they're sitting here going back and forth after you done caused the back and forth by saying something, now you're telling her, hey, no, just fix it. Listen, hear him out. He's good. My brother's a good dude. He's a good man and stuff. If you feel that he was a good man, why did you tell her this information? Why you didn't shut Alexis down on the phone and say, nah, I don't believe you, sis. Josh is he's been a stand-up guy since I've been up in here. I just feel like her and Aaron wants to be the matriarchs and patriarchs of the house to make it seem like everybody's came to them for the guidance, the help, and they fix everybody's situation. They're the end all be all to everything. And this is why it's backfiring and everybody's coming at them, because they're overly trying to produce situations. They're not organic. These things are not happening on their own and everybody's just coming to you because you are there. No, you're making them happen. And everybody's starting to take notice of it.
Yeah, internalize. Okay. Definitely agree on that particular perspective. Let me get to the next one. Let's go to, if we're looking at the right couple in my list. Let's go to Shay and Josh. If I can get them up. There we go. Hold on now. Hold on. Ooh.
Gives you this.
Why can I not find Shay and Josh? I don't know where. I apologize, guys. I thought I had a clip for them, but seems like there it is. That them?
Free to go.
There it is. That them? Nope. Well, you guys have to just do it. You have to just figure it out, guys, because I couldn't figure it out. Okay, there's a little picture of them. That's the best you're gonna get.
Yeah. Dymond and Aaron throw stones and hide their hands. They play victim and you're.
Okay, so obviously Shay and Josh, sorry about that, guys, I was trying to find a clip for you guys, but Shay and Josh had their conversation and their thing was focused on I guess the 12 years and then focused on whether, you know, she can trust him, you know, and you know, she spoke, well, later on she spoke about her anger, but I want to get your thoughts, Jay, on Shay and Josh. I mean, it seems to be the only kind of group that are really the kind of, I guess, stable ones, it almost seems like, as well. But yeah, you know. Okay, here we go.
Stable. Stable on sand, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what we building these foundations on, but whatever. Trust issues. The wonderful thing about trust issues are they're your issues. Can't nobody fix those but you. People can help, people can assist, people can do the best they can, but deep down inside, if you really have trust issues, that's something that you definitely got to work on yourself. Do I think Shay is working on them with this relationship? Yes. I do think she's using this relationship to work on those issues. However, forgiving people and giving them second chances does not always help trust issues. Giving them third, fourth trust chances don't mean that we're actually working on the trust issues of it all. It just means that we're working on the forgiveness and moving past it. The trust issues is, do you still have to go through phones? Do you have to check where he's at all the time? Do you have to know all his whereabouts? Do you have to know where all his very movements, you know? Do the words that come out of his mouth sit well with you without you popping off and blowing up? No, they don't. So when you sat on this thing and they played this game and told us you trust him wholeheartedly, no, you don't, ma'am, because you wouldn't have popped off the way you did when Dymond gave you that information. You wouldn't have reacted the way you did. Now, it could be a trigger from past events, from previous relationships and this relationship with the whole child a couple of years ago. But the fact that you're still triggered and popping off the way you are and have been, he said, he can't block. The only thing you can't do is block him in person. So had this been over the phone, you probably would have blocked him. Your trust issues are very strong because this has been a whole relationship for 12 years online. I don't know how you're going to work on that. Like, you can't, trusting somebody online is one thing, but trusting them in person and with your life is a whole different thing. Trusting them to show up and be who they said they were to you is a whole different thing. And like she said, it was easier to deal with some of these situations when people call me and hit her in the inbox and all that stuff when it's online. So, ma'am, these 12 years, you have not been working on your trust issues. You've just been relaxing on the fact that I don't have to deal with it head on. I can just go ghost when I want to. I can disappear and not have to deal with this fact that you might have somebody else and you can come back to me whenever you want to. That's not how you actually work on trust issues. Trust issues don't always require you to be in a relationship with somebody. Sometimes you just walk down the street and trust somebody with some information, like a stranger or whatever. There's different ways to work on a trust issue. I don't feel like Shay has actually been working on it, but I think she's using this relationship to try to work at it. Is it gonna work? I don't know, because Josh, he be a little shaky. He be a little shaky. Because I'm like, brother, that story, I don't doubt that y'all had the conversation of threesome around Shay. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that y'all did not smash in that thing. But was there some conversation that wasn't supposed to be had? I believe there was. Could it have been more? Possibly, if time permitted. Do I believe that when you tell Shay, she was gone the first day, ain't nothing else going on, this, that, and the third, did you give her your number before she left? Because if you gave her the number before you left just to fit in with everybody else, I don't know. So he ain't helping with the trust issues, but she says she's gonna stick by her man. So there's that.
Yeah, listen, it's a mazzoline on that one. Yeah, no, I think obviously there's things that have happened obviously aside this particular relationship. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna be trying to pretend as if I know what's really been happening between the two of them. I'm not gonna pretend. What I will say is that it has been an absolute mayhem. What I'll say is mayhem, and because obviously there's little things that happen, that we won't see, that they'll know. I think from this show, watching them though, they do seem to be very compact. They always seem to be together. They always seem to be on one accord. Now it's only to do with the Alexa situation, and that's the only thing that has really been actually a madness, really and truly. Anything other than that, I haven't really seen much of the dangers between the two of them. I think the only thing is they're going to go back to different states, right? And then what's going to happen? Are they going to go back to normal where they were before? Are they going to actually move? What's the question? Now, there's a little something that we need to address. Shay hasn't told her mom. Now, my question is, why she ain't telling her mom? So, okay. Now, maybe your mom says a fly off the hook type of mom, and you don't want her to fly off the hook. But it could be also because, sis, yourself, this relationship is not it, and you are not telling your mom because you don't want her to know, you don't want her to ask questions, and you don't want to have to answer some of the questions that may penetrate holes in the relationship. And sometimes I just want to be an idiot in my relationship, and I don't want anyone to tell me something else. You know what I'm saying to you? So yeah, I don't know. So I guess that's a real key conversation as to why she hadn't told her mom. Sorry, why she hadn't told her mom yet? Because I was like, wait, why? That's an important thing right there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Go for it, Jay.
No, Elle said it's kind of on the line where I am. It ain't real. Because that's the thing. But Shay, you feel like it's not real. Because technically, these are her words. I'm not about to introduce my mom to an online relationship. So you don't feel like it's real. I think Shay likes the idea and the comfort of having somebody to talk to from time to time, but not having to deal with the real responsibilities of an actual commitment, an actual relationship, an actual situation in real life. It's the comfort of knowing I got somebody to talk to go to sleep, to talk me to sleep, without the harm of them actually breaking my heart or not really loving me the way I need to be loved or whatnot. There's a fear there that is holding her back to be okay with being in the phone or the computer for 12 years and not one time say, you know what, I'm serious enough to introduce you to my mom. I'm serious about you in real life or whatever, to actually see you in person. And I don't know, maybe that's what she was waiting for too, to actually see him and for it to be real for her in person before I introduce you to my mom. Because that would probably be me. If I don't see you in person, why would I introduce you to my mom? Unless I'm just happen to be with my mom one time, you call me and I'm like, hey, look, here's my mom. That'd be the only way. or whatnot. But it seems like Shay is more serious about, one of those type of people that is serious about introducing her mom and her parents to people. So I guess to sum it up, I have to see you in person first before I introduce you to my mom. I got to know it's real. So my real question is not really why you haven't introduced you to the mom. Why does it take you 12 years to figure out if it's real or not, though? Like, what have we been compensating this whole time for? What have we been waiting for? I still need more of that story on why it's been 12 whole years before we actually seen each other in person. Have we been in and out of relationships? Have we been off and on talking? What is the real issue here? Because they do click. They do get along together real well while in person. So why did it take you this long to actually meet in person? What was the holdup? That's the real question that we need to be asking this couple.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. And I guess obviously, yeah, 12 years is a very long time, and I guess maybe like people are saying in the chat, the mum might have felt like, you know, this isn't real because it's been so long, and how can it actually be an actual relationship? Either way, the mum doesn't know. So, you know, that's going to be a sticky point a little bit later on. You know, so I get it. You know, whatever the reason is, you know, it's been a very long time. Hopefully, Shay is confident in the relationship enough to tell her mum. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Like, I know that online relationships can be embarrassing because, you know, I can understand that, you know, if you haven't met before, then it's like, was it ever really real, and will we ever meet? So what's the point of telling our parents? I do kind of get that a little bit, but if that person cares about you so much and you care about that person so much, I guess obviously a conversation with their parents might have been something along the lines eventually. But hey, I can't judge people in that respect. I understand that it may not have played out for them in the same way. But yeah, no, for me personally, like I said, I haven't seen any necessarily, apart from the Alexa situation, any real red flags in the relationship apart from that and the mum. They do pretty much show a good chemistry and a good unified perspective. They seem to have each other's backs. We never see them, you know, we never see them against each other like that. Even they worked out the whole Alexa situation pretty quickly as well. So again, it just, you know, for me, it has a lot of good positives. You know, he speaks up for her, you know, as well. Make sure she's calm as well. You know, he works through things, it seems, as well. Like, at this point, like, I got nothing bad to say about them. You know, they're forerunners on the show right now. You know, if I got to say anybody's going to make it, I say that. Ooh, sorry. I would say them too. Because the way that they behave and the way that they actually, you know, seem to be unified, you know. Now, of course, sex can do that. It can bring you in real quick. So we don't know. Obviously, you're in the house. You know, it is like being on a honeymoon. It's very, very nice. You're in a house together. You're seeing each other every day. You're waking up next to each other. You're sexing each other every single day. What happens when that doesn't happen anymore? You know, that's the key question. When there's distance and, you know, he's in his own life now and he's got his own kids and everything like that. What will happen at that point? Will we go back to where we were before? Or will we actually, you know, actually go forward and actually make a relationship happen? That's a key question. So
that's the same kind of like with Greg and Millie. Once we come out the boom boom room, then what? Does the trust issues continue to grow or get worse? Do we revert back, like you say? Are you gonna have to know all my whereabouts when you're in your state and I'm in my state? You know, it's the question. Once we get out of this house, how is it going to be?
You ain't tell no lies. You ain't tell no lies. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens for them going forward. So we'll see, you know, we'll see what happens as well. Obviously, our last couple, I guess, is Chris and Sandia as well. Before we do, guys, I want to shout out you guys. Thank you for joining us. We have 108 of you guys in the room. It's always a pleasure to have you guys on the live and joining us for these great conversations. We are discussing the Never Ever Meets, or Mets, if you want to call it, season 1, episode 8. I think there's 3 episodes left, and the Carnage is done, and we'll have to pick another show that we can actually watch together that may be a little bit Anyway, so listen, it's good to have you guys in here as well. Don't forget as well, appreciate you guys. Listen, we're doing a lot of coaching at the moment. I know my diary is pretty much getting booked up from the rest of June. People have already started booking July. God bless you guys. If you are looking for coaching, please do reach out for us. We know I really appreciate you guys who are doing it. Use me as much as you can. Like I said, these next few months, I don't know how long it'll last, but the price will go up. I promise you. I promise you. I can feel it already. It's starting to come up already because we've reached
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Thank you. Because we're approaching already 100 hours of coaching plus. And, you know, I've done up to 90 appointments I've completed already. So in 2 months. So I really want you guys to book in with me as quickly as possible. You guys should be getting first dibs because once I go global, I won't be able to have serviced you guys the same way. You know what I mean? Like, I'll see your email, but like, it's like, you're not paying £1,000. So I can't really talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be that case. I want you guys to use me now. You know what I'm saying to you? Before the good Lord elevates me. I'm just telling you guys, use me. Book yourselves in. Like, it's not free, of course, but you pay whatever you feel worth. Huh?
I said, not this internship getting expedited.
Yeah, listen, I'm just trying to get them to get in there. Listen, because once I go and the Lord elevates me, I won't be looking back. I promise y'all. Okay, all right. It'll be pro bono work. That's what you call it. And I promise you, I'm not doing 100 hours in a month. Okay, so you know, so I really want you guys to book yourselves in. You know what I'm saying to you. Elson said if you're a member, listen, anybody can get it. Listen, just book yourself in. You know what I mean? Like, and again, there's no price on it at the moment. It's literally just you pay whatever you feel the session's worth. So I would love to even say like you get a discount, but there's no discount because you have to pay whatever it's worth. So
in order for y'all to go ahead and take advantage before he starts charging y'all a retainer fee.
Now, there you go. Right now, I don't even charge a cancellation fee.
Right. Before y'all get that retainer fee, a legal fee.
That legal fee. I will start charging by the email. Okay. I'm gonna turn and pay charging by the email, and you ain't gonna get an email without a little poem. You know what I mean? No, but jokes aside, I genuinely mean that. Like, money aside, I really do want people to use me while you can. Look, I'm growing and learning as well in the coaching, and I'm really appreciative of everybody that's joining us. I'm collating a lot of information, meaning I know how to service the general body of people. But I really do want you guys to reach out to me and use all the slots that I have. I even open up Saturday, so some people could actually do it. Not anymore, but I open up Saturday because a few people need to do Saturday. But use me as much as possible, just so that if you're going through anything relationship wise, mother, father wise, brother and sister, do you know what I mean? If you're going through career, spiritual as well, if you're Christian, and you're going through some stuff as well, maybe you're going through a season right now, reach out to me. And again, pay whatever you have in your hand or pay whatever you feel the session's worth. I'm not asking you to break the bank for this at this moment. I want to service you guys as much as possible. Okay, and you guys are first dibs on that. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for that as well. And I will be letting you guys know the details on the Patreon day, you know, where we get to have a little bit of a conversation, little games, quizzes, break out to small, little to small breakout rooms, have some deep conversations as well. So I'll be launching that as well for you guys. And then I've got my group coaching sessions, which I'll be launching next week as well. So look, I've got a lot of things coming. Mimi said, can I fix an dismissive avoidance? I can't fix anybody. Or you're going to have to fix it yourself, but you're going to come with a coaching, which I'm going to give you the tools to be able to fix that. So yes, if you are going through that, if you're dismissive avoidant, fearful avoidant, I'm learning a lot about that, anxious, attachment styles, all of them, reach out to me, and we'll work through it as well with you guys as well. All right. So shoot your shot, I guess they would say, in the description box by clicking on the calendar. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Let's get back to the show and get back to what we're talking about, which is obviously that never ever meets. We've got the last one talking about Chris. We've got Chris and Sandia. Chris and Sandia, which is really, really interesting.
We got Aaron and Jodi too.
Oh, Aaron and Jodi. Sorry, yes, you're right. Sorry, yes. I don't know why I forgot about them. Aaron and Jodi first. Let's do Aaron and Jodi first. I want to end on Chris and Sandia. Yes, Aaron and Jodi. Let me get them up. I do remember them because they were at the very end.
What was your experience?
It was awkward. I didn't think it went well.
What did he do? What is that?
It didn't make me feel good for him to try to over-impress me.
She said it didn't make her feel good knowing that he tried to overly impress her. Was just a shot to the heart there. You know what I'm saying, Chi? Whew. I mean, she didn't have to go that hard. What's your thoughts, Jay, on Jodi and Aaron? because they obviously had the coaching as well. And there was a little moment earlier on where she said to him she wanted him to move over, and so that was her best side. And he kind of gave a little bit of resistance, but he didn't hold it all the way down. I'd have told her, sit your ass down on this side. I chose this side already. Sit your ass on this side, okay? But he gave in and showed her who was boss. Talk to me.
He got her to say please.
Or at least you got something out of her, at least.
It's a step. It's a step in the right direction for it. It's a win for Aaron J. That's the problem. It's the small wins for Aaron J. We're living a bit of delusion. Aaron J is the woman that says I can change a man. He feels like he can change Jodi, which is crazy as heck. You cannot change her from what her stance. This is why I think Jodi is being so aggressive, because Aaron J is one of those people that you can tell politely, I don't care for you, I don't like you, and they still hear, I have a shot, I have a chance. It's that character Jim Carrey plays on Dumb and Dumber 2, I think it's 2, where he's going after the lady and she's just like, not in a 1 in a million shot that you have with me. And he's like, so there's still a chance. As long as I'm 1 in a million, I still have a chance. That's the problem. That's the land that Aaron J lives in with Jodi. Unfortunately, Jodi has to just stick to her guns of being honest. She don't have to be brutal, honest, this nasty honest that she's being, but she needs to be like literally honest with him and saying, hey, it's just not working for me. This relationship is not working for me in this capacity. Maybe we should just resolve to being friends only. So you can go find what works for you and I can find what works for me. She's being nasty because she's hoping that he picks up on the nastiness, which in turn makes her look even worse to all of us. You know, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of doing this in the past too. Before you realize that don't work either. Just being nasty to somebody don't work. Sometimes that actually turns some people on, which is kind of weird. It's kind of like, okay, I'm being mean to you and you're being turned on. You're kind of weird. So you just need to tell this man it's not going to happen. No way, no how. We need to go our separate ways. I need Aaron J to actually hear that though. And actually tell himself those exact same words, not sitting there saying, oh, it's not going to happen right now. No, it's not going to happen ever, sir. Don't worry about the right now. Don't worry about the future if it's going to happen. If it does happen in the future, great. But you need to tell yourself right now, it is not happening. I am not doing it for Jodi. Let me move the F on. Let me stop wasting my good time here before I become bitter, jaded, and tarnished and end up like a Chris, Aaron, H, all these other people in the house who are suffering from choices that they made. You're choosing to stay in this relationship that it's not benefiting you at all, Aaron J, at this point. This woman has talked every which way but loving to you. Why would you want to be in a relationship with a person like that? Why would you want to be in a relationship where you're begging somebody to love you? At some point, you have to stop pleasing everybody around you and please yourself. Find your happiness. And I know I said this on my platform. Jodi needs to figure out what she wants, but in turn, Aaron too needs to figure out what he wants. Then he'll start putting boundaries up with people and stop letting people walk all over him and misuse him, even this woman that he claims he cares for. Jodi is misusing you at this point. She's abusing you at this point. You need to let her know, ma'am, you cannot treat me this way. I've been nothing but good to you. And if you don't like it, let me go. Matter of fact, let me release myself. Jodi, if you actually care about this man as a friend at the least, you should be able to be honest with him and just tell him, I need somebody else that is more capable of this, that, and the third. You're just not it. To sit here and wait till you got in front of this lady for him to hear how you actually felt about the first date, how you actually felt about the kiss, that doesn't make him feel any better. you're actually hurting him more than all the times that you pulled him aside to tell him how he was doing wrong anywhere else. You should have pulled him aside the same way and told him, listen, this relationship is just not benefiting me. And and in turn, I'm not going to benefit you. I don't know if this is a financial relationship. If Aaron J got all this money somewhere stashed while she's trying to stay with it, talking about it, marriage is a business deal. We agree on that part. And some places people do believe it's a business deal, but a lot of these people do start off with some type of love for something. So what is your love for Aaron? Why you want to sit here and run this man through the ringer? Why do you want to torture him and yourself to stay in this relationship? What are you getting out of it? What benefit do you get from this relationship? You two both need to ask yourself that question. What do I actually benefit from this relationship? I bet you if you ask that question, you'll figure out it's less than what you actually like. The benefits are less than. So neither one of y'all doing yourself a service by sitting in this relationship, lying to each other, talking about you're physically attracted to each other. You just told us that you felt nothing from the kiss. How are you physically attracted to this man? Stop lying. I need everybody to stop lying. Y'all all got a little lying problem and it's aimed at self. I don't like it.
Yeah, listen, I think the difficulty here is that, people are not being honest. I think also as well with Jodi, she's just not in tune with her actual emotions. I think this is why her and actually Chris got on, because I feel like both of them are very dismissive when it comes to actual emotions. And actually she dismissed the part where she said, obviously, I'm not about to feel no way if he feels more deeper about the emotions or whatever. And the coach was like, yeah, when they start feeling some type of way, it's going to affect you. Nah, I mean, that's how he feels. And it's like instantly brushing off the emotions tells me how uncomfortable she is with emotions. So whenever you're going to be that uncomfortable with emotions and you're not willing to sit with it, you make the other party feel a little bit crazy, because actually at that point you're like saying your emotions don't affect me. They wrote this, they walk with a duck's back. You're not going to have me looking, you're not going to have me in a particular way. I'm not going to be drawn in by your emotions, and basically she's actually doing what dismissives do quite well, which is create distance between themselves and the other party, right? Which is they end up doing it by being mean. This is what dismissives tend to do. They tend to create distance by being mean. Actually, that's also where the allure usually comes in, because especially for women, the bitch word, and I don't mean to say that in any disrespect to anybody, but I'm just saying that in a term of the way that it's coined. That particular energy is what actually draws men in. So her being that bitch, the B word, so I should say, right? She's encompassing that word, and men actually get drawn to it. But what they're actually sensing is an emotionally unavailable person, and that creates mystery for a lot of men, because a lot of men are used to having women that are quote unquote in their emotions, and when you see that, it becomes something to conquer, it becomes something to attain, it becomes something to win, it becomes something to beat, right? Because now that Jodi's offering competition. But in reality, all it does is once a man gets that girl, he gets pissed off, because we realizes that actually he wants a feminine woman who's in touch with her emotions. So it's very difficult. So what I see with Jodi and Aaron is that, with Aaron, because he's always so much, quote unquote, more the emotional individual, she's happy to stay in that non-emotional space because it gives her power, gives her control over the relationship. She gets to do all the rejecting as well, because as we saw beforehand, he hasn't rejected her, she's been rejecting him. It's like 2 or 3 times rejecting him already, right? Now, of course, one of them was a bit of breaking of boundaries, but that one was a kiss, and then I didn't feel anything about the kiss, and it's like, okay, well then sis, why are you here? But again, it puts her in a place of power, because she's the one that's doing the rejecting. She's the one that's saying that I don't want him. She's the one that's saying that, listen, I gotta take it slow. Everything's gonna be on her time, because as a dismissive person, that's what ends up happening. You end up trying to have control over every element, because it makes them feel safe being in that space. So Aaron J needs to get into his head that he's not going to win her over. And he should stop trying to win her over. He's tried now. It's over. Okay, all right? So once she said that you kissed her and she couldn't feel nothing, I'd have been out the door. I'd have been out the door, my brother. Now, the reason why he's staying is because he doesn't fully believe he's worthy of someone who actually loves and cares about him, right? Because that's probably what he didn't get from his father, right? Because his dad's a daddy-o Mac, right? So if your dad was a daddy-o Mac, more than likely he probably wasn't emotionally present as you needed him to be because he's daddy-o Macking. Okay, and so now you got a child who's got probably self-worth issues and doesn't believe he deserves to be loved, chasing someone who's not willing to give that love in order to try and win over that party to prove that he's worthy of love. And that's what keeps him in there. That's what he says he's afraid of failure. It's not that you're afraid of failure. You're afraid of actually coming to the truth that you can't win this battle. Right, that you can't actually turn this person over, and that actually you may be looking at yourself and go, actually, am I not worthy of love? When reality of the situation is you're investing in the wrong place. It's the wrong investment. This person's unwilling to yield and return the investment on what you are giving right now, Aaron. You know, and until you get it into your head that you deserve more than this, you're gonna stay there trying to keep giving her what you think she wants, and you're gonna find out.
Now, I'm not totally familiar with them, but would Aaron be anxious, feel for anxious, or would it be?
He would
feel
be.
for attachment.
You can probably be anxious. Yeah, you probably say more anxious.
I'm getting anxious from him.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
But he also has that fear of failure too. So I don't know. Like he has that. So yeah, he's with a dismissive. He's gonna keep chasing. She's going to keep running. He's going to keep chasing. And the one I know for sure, one thing that you do, if you want the attention of a dismissive person, you ignore them. That's the best way to get their attention. So that's why she's turned off. And it's not that he's doing too much. He's doing more than she requires. You know, he didn't really do too much the first day. He tried to dance and he bought wine for her. That's not a lot in some people's eyes. But for her, that was too much because you're not being yourself. You're not being in tune. And it's like, I guess maybe when we're online, he's a little bit more chill. He's a little bit more reserved. He doesn't care as much. And now in person, he cares a lot. I see you. Let me show you how much I've been listening. Let me show you how much I pay attention to you, because what I'm worried about is now that you see me, you're going to leave me. So let me do the most I can to make sure you hold on. And that's actually in turn turning her more off. Poor little Tink again. I don't know. I don't know.
Poor little Tintin. He needs to get through his head. You know what I mean? And it's tough. Like, I can't lie to you. It's tough because, like, sometimes you don't realize, isn't it? Like, sometimes you don't realize you're in that loop. You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't realize you're actually in that loop. You don't realize that actually you're being put through a cycle of behaviors because you want it so bad that you can't see outside of yourself. You're on a hamster wheel chasing the cheese on the hamster wheel. And it's like difficult because you can see the cheese and you're about to get it, but it always seems to be just a little bit farther away. And, you know, that's the whole point about also what within a dismissive person as well, that they have an ego too. So there's almost a sadisticness that comes from it. And I have to be honest with you, there's a little bit of a sadistic of enjoying the person chasing you. It gives you a sense of validation, right? That's the validation comes from the person chasing you again and wanting you again, right? If he removes every ounce of his of effort towards her suddenly, you'll see that she'll come crawling again, right? Because he's removed all the foundations of attention that she was getting out, feeding her and giving her safety. And that's why she can be cruel. That's why she can be rude, because she knows out of you two, she's got the power. And this men do it to women too. It's not like one way. It's just that people do this when they're, you know, in these kind of spaces. And that's why when he was, you know, they had a situation a few weeks ago with a drink, and, you know, she got a little bit annoyed about it. You can't have my drink. Like, someone don't even want to share their drink with you. They don't want your juices on that cup. Yeah, they don't want you. You know what I mean? They don't want you. Yeah, don't think that OCD. They don't want you. Okay, all right. And you know, you get to that stage when you start realizing how human beings can be, and sometimes it's very tough when you're kind of just wanting love, and maybe you're sheltered from being in relationships to actually know what it really is like. And so sometimes it can be very difficult to analyze and be like, oh, critically aware that this person is actually kind of rude, disrespectful a little bit, you know what I mean? In the way that they're handling you, and they're dragging you, but they're dragging you because you want to be dragged. So he's gonna have to get through his head that you don't want to be dragged anymore. You're over being dragged. So that means you're gonna have to let certain things go, and probably this is gonna be one of the relationships to let go, and actually analyze it from a outside perspective. And that's why your dad would have been good to tell you, But instead, we had Aaron telling your dad, and so your dad obviously also too don't want no one to tell him what to do. So he actually didn't analyze the situation properly either, because in his head he heard what Aaron said and said, I'm gonna let this guy influence me. But in reality, he actually did. He forced him the other way, for him not to actually pay attention. Ended up dancing with Jodie instead of actually paying attention to what this girl was doing. And I guess it also further enhanced why Aaron is in the position he's in right now. How can your dad come and end up dancing with your gal in front of you and not giving a proper verdict on what you're actually seeing from her, and instead dancing with your girl? That should let you know where maybe also emotionally your father is too, in terms of being able to connect with you emotionally. And this is why you're in the space that you're in right now as well. So yeah, it kind of showed me that a little bit as well.
I don't know. It's a catch-22 for Aaron J. It's just, we just got to get him to actually hear what's really being said and not what he translates in his head. You know, I think what the problem is, and we can fault Jodi all day on it, because a lot of people say she's leading him on. She's not technically leading him on, but she stops during her chase. And so it gives him time to catch up. And when he gets those little moments to catch up, he looks forward to those. He's like, I'm in. She let me in a little bit, so I'm moving a little bit further. And he's lying to himself by thinking that I'm in. You're not actually in. You just caught. You just stopped. You're just paused. But she's going to run again. She's going to continue to move forward, and she's going to keep pushing the goalpost every time you reach close to making it. So I need you to tell yourself what's really happening and stop fighting that part of it. She's literally telling you, I don't want you. She's physically showing you, I don't want you. I need you to actually pay attention to that. Ignore everybody else outside telling you she don't want you. Listen to Jodi tell you she don't want you. Stop listening to that little voice in your head saying that every little bit that she gives me validates that she still has something for me. No. I need Aaron J to value himself more, to say, I deserve what I'm giving out. I need somebody that reciprocates the things that I am doing for them. If I go 110%, I need at least my lady to go 100% if she can't go to full 10. Jodi is not even giving you 10%, sir. I need you to recognize how much somebody is trying to show you how much they like you. Love yourself enough to recognize yourself in somebody and be like, if I'm not even getting myself back from you, I don't want nothing to deal with you. If I can't even get what I give you in return in some capacity, it don't have to be exactly how I give it to you, but I need something coming back to me in equal amounts, if not greater. I need to let him go. I just need Aaron J to be at that spot, because Jodi has told you every which way she don't want you. I don't know what being mean is her last resort at this point. And she's hoping that work, and somehow you're being turned on by that. I don't know why. Some people, men and women, like to torture themselves with this craziness right here.
They really be doing that, man. And I've been there before, so I know. Where you're taking every little ounce of as an indication that maybe it can work, maybe it can work. You know, and I get it. You know, you're in that space where you're just taking any little glimmer of hope. But again, that's breadcrumbing, right? And I don't think that's necessarily it's not necessarily on Jodi. It's on him. Like, he's willing to take those little breadcrumbs as a way of saying something's going to change. But the reality of the situation is, if they wanted to, they would. And this is one of the things as well. Like, this is why I just start removing my presence from people. Like, I start matching energy. Like, until you're in a relationship with somebody, right? And they're not in a relationship. If I'm honest with you, they're not in a relationship, right? So until you're in a relationship with somebody, right? There's a limit to how much you should be a bigger person, because you're not in a relationship with that person, right? Relationship allows me to be the bigger person because there's a safety in that relationship, that we are in a relationship, we are growing in partnership to another destination. When I'm not in a relationship with you, me being the bigger person is causing me carnage. What I need to be doing is matching energy. Because at that point, if you ain't giving me something, I don't need to be giving it back to you either. Because the more I give it to you, the more you're taking advantage of me, more than likely. Right? Like, if you're in a relationship, that's because you guys have decided, you've grown to that perspective, you've both agreed. But when you're not there yet, you know, and you're over giving, you're only killing yourself because you haven't got to a place of where there is a level of reciprocity decided by the title that you guys have given each other. And so this is what ends up happening when people get into situations. It's what happens when people get into situations, you know, when they are so invested with being in love with somebody, but they haven't really had a foundation with that person. And you know, it's like I said, it's almost given as if it's your first relationship, which I know is probably not because obviously he's got a kid. But there's something that he's seen in her, I think, as a project maybe to win her over or whatever, and it's caused him to stay longer than he really needs to. He needs to look beyond this situation, and you know, everyone's telling him, and I think almost as if the more they told him, the more he wanted to fight for it. It's like, you know, like, you're not going to tell me I'm wrong. And I hear it, but you're going to have to mature. You're going to have to look at things differently. You know what I mean? So, you know, I hope that, you know, that he sees it and calls it a day. That's what he needs to do. I hope. Okay, let's get on to our last one. We're going to get on to Chris and Sandia. I know Chris done set off the people them because he done said that women don't make good decisions. So we gonna get on to him. Chris and Sandia.
Yeah, specifically, I do need to work on like empathizing with her feelings, but the fact that she knows my flaws and she knows how I am, and I know hers, and we're still.
Well, Chris and Sandia, your thoughts, Jay?
Let me not speak out of emotion here, okay? You know, because emotions make you cry sometimes, and we want to avoid those. We want to just be logical in some sense or whatnot. So if we're going to be logical about the situation, and we're going to go with his logic that women make poor decisions majority of the time, because he said so. He came back and said so, or whatever. Sometimes when Sandia says something, he says sometimes we make some okay decisions. So in the sometimes, is Sandia making a good decision on you? Is that what you're telling us? She's making a poor decision, choosing you? Do you think your mom made a poor decision in your dad? Do you think your grandmother made a poor decision in your grandfather? These decisions are made. Like, you're not just going out here hitting a woman over the head and she's just coming back with you. She's deciding to be with you. Sandia is deciding to stay in this relationship with you. So are you telling Sandia she's making a poor decision? You have to be careful of the things, logically speaking, you have to be careful of the things you say before you say them. You think she's in a relationship with you because it's emotional? She's in her emotional relationship with an emotionless person. That makes absolutely no sense. And I like to think Sandia is a little bit smarter than that. Just a little bit. Part of me still don't know why she's choosing to stay in this relationship all the time. However, she's one of those types that I can change him. Okay, sis, cool. I do get what he was coming from. I do get this logic that he is under. When you do scientifically look overall, men solve problems through logic. Us women solve our issues through expressing our emotions and getting it out, and then we come to a resolve. Logically, yes. That's how we do a lot of things. Sometimes the decision making is logical, sometimes it's emotional, but that actually goes both ways for men and women. When men get in a fight, it's not a logical decision that they do it. They do it out of emotions. When you argue with people, it's not a logical decision. I'm just going to choose to argue with this person today. It's based off of emotions. And I need Chris to understand, running from emotions doesn't make you any better than somebody that actually deals with their emotions. You're choosing not to actually find within yourself the emotional capacity to regulate your emotions by not dealing with them. You're just running and escaping from your problems. That's always a temporary solution. Eventually, you're going to have to go through the process of using your emotions to deal with situations. One day, you're going to have a child. They're going to bring out emotions in you that you didn't even realize you had. You're going to have to go through that process with your child. You're just going to ignore your children when they're going through some things, when they're hurt, when their emotions spill out and they're hungry, because this is what a child reacts to as a baby. They don't react to logic. They don't react to they're reacting to emotions. I'm hungry. My emotion is telling me I need to cry to get attention so I can eat. Logic comes in later after it realized my emotion got food from crying. They work together to some degree. The thing is, you don't know how to regulate your emotions, so you want to pass it off as the woman is full of emotions and all this, because I guess the ex of 8 years made an emotional decision when she left you. I don't think she made an emotional decision because she decided to leave you after 8 years. I think logically, she's been sitting and stewing on how she's going to leave you, but it might have ended at maybe an argument or something that y'all had, and she's decided in this moment, this is the last straw. But for me, you just said she just up and left, and you're going to tell me you don't know why. For a logical person, you should know why she up and left. Did she up and leave because you weren't moving financially? Because I think that's part of the reason why she might have left, because you were saying that relationship was also the one that you don't want to be in another relationship where you're making less than a woman. Was you not doing something, or were you cheating on this relationship? Logically, that would make sense for her to say, you know what, I've had enough. I've been taking care of this man, this, that, and the third. I'm out. Were you not giving her any emotions through this relationship? I'm still confused too a little bit, and I don't know if you got it, but and maybe you could speak on it if you did, but I don't even know if this is the relationship that made him this way. I think this has just contributed to some of his behavior or whatnot, and it hardened him to a harder degree of being a totally red pill manosphere. But is this the start of where all this comes from? Or are you indoctrinated into this lifestyle of thinking men is just up here when it comes to everything, and women just emotional and you just figure it out down here? I still need more answers on that. Like, the relationship seems like it's took a major hit out of Chris. It took a big chunk out of his heart. But was that the start of it? Was that the start of this downfall? Or did you see something else prior to that made you say, you know what? That's it. When you got out of this relation, that's it. I'm just going to be like this to the men's and all this stuff. But my last thought before I move on is, now you're fighting your inner self. You're fighting your true self. Your true self is to be a lover in a committed relationship. Your friend has told us that. Your behaviors tell us that. But your hurt self wants to run these streets and avoid all of the feelings of the past that you've had. One thing's for sure is that you cannot say you want to be in love or have a loving relationship with somebody without taking the risk that you might get hurt. That's what love is. I'm sorry. I wish it was some other way that, love is just unconditionally handed out to everybody, but it's not. So you do take a risk when you decide to enter that game and say, you know what, let me take a shot at loving this person. What you do is align yourself to make the best investment, to make the best bet on the person that you choose to love. If Sandia is not your person, you're going to get hurt again. So stop sitting here waiting for Sandia to prove herself to you, and start making the necessary changes for yourself to prove you're worthy, for yourself to be in love the way you want to be loved. You waiting on her to prove yourself actually wastes both your time. Now you're wasting her time, and you're wasting your time as actually finding that person that's supposed to be for you. You're not doing anything. You're in the same position Millie is in, not actually healing yourself and working on yourself when you should be. You're the same place that Shay is in, not working on the issues that are sitting here inside of you. You say you want something, yet you're not working towards it. You want everybody else to move for you. That makes absolutely no sense. As a leader, as a man that you're saying that is logically sound and all this stuff, you need to be making the steps forward for yourself to go forth and say, I want to be loved and in loving relationship, a monogamous relationship, whatever it is that you actually deep down inside want. You need to be making those steps with yourself on figuring out how it is that I, Chris, love a woman enough to say this is the one I want to spend the rest of my daggone life with. This is the woman God has brought before me. This is my choice, and I trust my actual choice. That's what you're actually afraid of. You're not making the right choice because you feel like you failed with that lady. You're scared of your own decision making. So you're going to tell us that ours is weak, but you're scared of your own. Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I've done a video on this already for it, but I think these situations with Chris, what he just explained, right? He feels like women make bad decisions. One of the things, obviously, about he's obviously been hurt. And I guess that's contributed towards whatever he feels. Dismissive avoidance are always afraid of abandonment. So caregiver probably wasn't able to meet the emotional needs of that person. So I can see why maybe he went down that lane in terms of if your caregiver is your mother and maybe you felt like she neglected you and you kind of blame her. I wonder if he comes from a single parent home, because sometimes that also becomes a problem, right? That the child turns on the single parent and blames them for not having a dad in their life, right? That maybe the mum did something wrong, and then obviously to go to that I guess you want to call it the red pill extreme, or the part where he's like saying women don't make good decisions, right? It's born out of pain, isn't it, right? And it's the best way for him to be able to protect himself, right? It's easier to blame the other party than to actually look at oneself and see what changes they can make and see how they've contributed towards the situation. It's a way of being able to protect himself, but really and truly also doesn't give you any accountability, doesn't give you any power, right? In any real power, right? You've got an illusion of power by blaming the woman, but you don't have any real power, because the real power is actually in the ability that you can do and what you can change and what you can do differently. But if you say women is the woman like up to left, well, the question really tells me is that why would she just up and leave after 8 years? No one just ups and leaves after 8 years, right? Now, of course, if you want to talk about attachment styles, fearful avoidance can leave without no excuses, right? But after 8 years, no, it's not going to happen, right? You after 8 years, you would have been like, do you know what? There was things that have been happening throughout that relationship, right? That there are signs that the person was trying to leave. So this is not that there's no way after 8 years someone decides to up and leave. And as soon as he said that, I said, why would you tell the story like that? Well, it's easy to blame the other party. It's easy to say that the person upped and leave, but actually, what he's really saying is the person abandoned them, right? He feels abandoned. That's how he feels, and he's interpreted it as being the truth. I feel abandoned, and told him is, well, the person left me. Did they really leave you? Or did the relationship get to a point where there was no longer any space for them to go anywhere else apart from leaving you, and you decided that you felt like they abandoned you, right? And again, because he's not in tune with his emotions, he's not acknowledging how he actually feels. Because he feels like his emotions are weakness. This is a part of the dismissive avoidant. They feel their emotions are weakness, right? We're not having a real conversation. Now, he started speaking a little bit about it by saying, he's been in a relationship for 8 years. It took a lot of time to recover. And I think I said this in my video, which maybe will be my second part of the video that'll come out later on. I said that a lot of people, and I want to do a video about this actually this week, is a lot of people have recovered from a relationship but have not healed. So the two are two distinct things. I can recover from the last relationship, but I have not healed. To recover means that I've been able to make my way out of that last relationship. I've got out of there safely. I've navigated it to a more stable position, maybe mentally and emotionally. But I actually haven't healed, meaning I haven't dealt with the actual wound that is deep within myself that needs to be healed, so that when I go to the next relationship, I'm actually a better person. I can recover from that relationship, but I haven't healed. And so I think with him, he's recovered. He hasn't healed. And so now you're now telling us that women make bad decisions. And like you said, well, that puts everybody in a bad predicament, because now that means that your mother makes bad decisions. That means your sister will make bad decisions. That means your cousin will make bad decisions. That means your future daughter's going to make bad decisions. And anybody else who's a woman that's around you is going to make bad decisions, right? Now, I don't think bad decisions are simply only women. I think bad decisions are both men and women. But it's intriguing to find out how you wanted to make it only women. And again, that comes with, someone might call it misogyny, but I would rather just say that comes with when you foolishly look at a situation from one perspective and you begin to have a superior complex as a man, thinking that you as a man, well, I guess that's misogyny, but thinking as a man that you believe that you're almost better than the woman, right? And the reality of the situation is, like you said, he's a fool, because then that means, maybe not even a fool, maybe he knows Sandia is making the wrong choice in choosing you. So why the frick are you there? Well, because he's getting whatever he wants to get from her. So Sandia needs to listen to what he's actually saying and listen and watch the actions, because actually they're actually aligning. His words are not lying to what he's doing. He's actually not showing you anything that is of worth of staying behind. But she's happy to deal with the breadcrumbs herself. Her and Aaron J are very two similar people. Instead of actually getting out and actually treating themselves better and knowing they can do better, they're sticking in a situation that's really bad. So, Chris just... he just needs to heal rather than just recover from the last relationship.
Fact, she said something very important there too. I got because my thoughts is going about 50 miles an hour. I got about 5 of them in my head right now. But with him not recovering and not healing, this is why we're still triggered. We're still talking about an 8-year relationship. Did you not have anything in between there? And I'm not even saying it had to be as long. This is why you're making these comments on women didn't make good decisions. And now you're scapegoating. Because when you say women didn't make good decisions, but you're still hurt from the 8-year relationship, Chris, you made a bad decision on that woman. She up and left. You didn't up and leave her. So the decision so are you either telling me that she made a bad decision by leaving you? Because if that's the case, you got to prove that she's not thriving right now. You got to prove that she's miserable without you. You have to prove that she's over here hurt and she's worse off than when you've met her, But to me, the fact that you're still sitting here in the same position that you were when you were in this 8-year or at the end of this 8-year relationship, to still be this hurt by it, that lets me know that she has moved on and found something else. She's probably even married at this point right now. She was probably sitting around for 8 years waiting for you to decide to marry her. And she said, you know what? I'm tired of waiting. I have a kid and everything. That lady has a whole kid and everything. You think she wants to just be in a relationship with somebody for 8 years and nothing comes of it? She decided to leave, so that was a poor decision, or did you make the poor decision to be in a relationship with the lady? So I need Chris to be looking at himself. I need him to be in the mirror with a lot of the things and figure out what I did wrong in this relationship, why I got the outcome that I didn't desire, instead of trying to scapegoat and look at everybody else as the problem. Because now you're looking at Sandia as she needs to walk with you on eggshells through this process of minds. She needs to bear with me through all the hell and turmoil I'm going to put her through. If she proves herself that loyalty to me, then I will give her what? You didn't get that lady up 8 years, anything. So how long is Sandia supposed to wait? Sandia, take the information in, baby. Take it in. Because at the end of the 8 years, it'd be nice if they could talk to the ex. This is the one time I'd be like, you need to talk to this ex, because this ex, you need to figure out from the ex, why of 8 years did she decide to leave? Because Chris is not going to give you the true story. If this ex come forward and tell us why of 8 years she decided to leave, and it was because Chris was procrastinating on something, Sandia, pack your bags. Because if she went 8, you're going to have to go 16. I don't know if you got 16 years in you, sis. He not invalidating your feelings. He want. I'm gonna try. I'm trying to make time for. I'm trying to make space for. He not even trying to make you a priority, sis. And then on top of it, let's not forget, because they sure didn't let us forget. He came in here with his chest poked out, talking about that ain't my lady, that ain't my girl. Now Ken, he giving you little breadcrumbs, saying, "Oh, this boo, let me put her jacket on. Let me hang out with her a little bit to show her a little something." But he also did tell you 2 weeks later he gonna ghost you. Right now he can't ghost you because y'all are stuck in the house together. When we get out the house, if he ghosts you, let him stay gone. Let him stay gone. Do not answer the big head text. Don't pick up the phone when he call. Block all numbers he call you from. Let him stay gone because he already told you what he gonna do. He gonna continue to string you along. He was probably doing that to that same lady for 8 years. Wonder why she left. I don't know why she left me. Sir, you know why she left. Please tell the truth. Be honest with yourself, Chris. If you be honest with yourself, you can have some resolve and we can move forward.
Yeah. So, I just think to myself, I think this is a great place for him to kind of learn. Hopefully the coach will get through to him, hopefully, because obviously the pain that he's gone through is very painful. And, he's clearly hurt by the past endeavors and relationship. And I spoke about it in my video, dismissives, they find it very difficult. We find it very difficult because we idealize and perfect, and he probably thought this woman was perfect. You know what I mean? And that's something that dismissives do quite a lot. We think the person's perfect, we idolize them, and then when they cut us, when they finally do something that breaks that seal or that image, baby, that's when the trouble starts, and probably the pushing and the pulling and the power dynamics happen in the relationship. Remember the first 3 years he said that obviously he wasn't making us much money, probably she was, maybe he, was getting validated from her or whatever, in terms of staying in a relationship because he wasn't pulling his weight or whatever, who knows. But either way, that relationship, when he said obviously took her child on as his son, probably he took on more of the emotional capacity at that point in time. That's another thing as well. Like, I wonder if that was his first proper relationship. That was for 8 years. Because another thing also as well about dismissive is that, when it comes to relationships, that first heartbreak is what kills them usually. It's that first heartbreak that usually kills them, that turns them into the monster that they are already. The monster's already there. It's just waiting for that first heartbreak. Because remember, they idealize in relationships. So you've been in a relationship for 8 years, you put on a pedestal, and then she breaks your heart in some type of way, then that's when your wound connects with that present situation. And then you become this cold person. And if you don't start paying attention to try and bring yourself back, you become this emotionless person where you're saying dumbass stuff like, women don't make good decisions, and yet you're with a woman, and then, you're saying, that someone else is more sensitive than you are, yet you're the one that's overwhelmed by emotions. So it's like we start making these statements, and really a lot of the time is because we want to feel superior. It makes us feel safe if we're superior. If I'm above you, I feel safe. But the reality is that's not what's happening. You know what I mean? That's not what's happening. And yeah, he'll continue to keep saying he's an entrepreneur and hasn't got time because he's dismissive. He'll just keep on bringing that space between the two of them. And until Sandia calls him out and says, actually, you're creating distance between us in a relationship, Sandia's not ready for this relationship. Look, to love someone who's in any of the insecure attachments is very difficult if they're not very self-aware. Where Chris is, he's not really self-aware right now. So it's going to be very difficult. Sandia wanting to love him, very difficult, because you're going to have to burn, die, crucify, be mortified, and be hurt a lot before you get the real Chris, because you don't know how to speak up for yourself. So Sandia should be in nowhere near this relationship because she has not got the assertiveness to be able to do it. Right? She hasn't got it. She hasn't developed her own voice and her own staying power and standing power in this situation. So she should really be staying clear, to be honest, until she can develop that. Because every day is saying to us, I don't know, and I don't feel no way. It's just like, come on, sis, come on, yeah. That's a lean. Any last thoughts, Jay, before we vacate?
I'll say each of these couples are finding themselves with their mirror partner of where they at in life. Everybody is like perfectly matched up and aligned to where they're at in life. Yeah, we can say all of these people need to be apart of, away from each other and all this stuff like that, because the fact is they're all broken, but they actually found their broken match. Chris and Sandia are like perfect in this toxic condition together. She's going to go along with anything that he says until the day she wants her voice. To the day she sits there and say, you know what, this is just not serving me. This is not what I want anymore. Then they're going to end in a way, and Chris is going to say it's her fault because he's not working on healing himself. These people are meeting each other in their broken spaces. I need for these people to separate and go heal from the traumas that they have encountered from the past. So they in turn don't do what they keep telling us they don't want to do to these people, is hurt them. I don't want to hurt you by any of the past. This is what this the rhetoric through the house with a lot of these people. Well, if you, the one way you don't do that is go fix those things that are still broken with you. You know what's broken with you. You actually do know what's broken with you. Chris knows what's broken with him. Millie knows what's broken with her. Aaron Jade knows what's broken with him. Jodi knows what's broken with her. Dymond and Aaron both know what's broken with them, but they want to stay in they mess together. So let them be, okay? Let them be messy together. Let them be. And Josh and Shay, they want to stay in they whatever they got together. Let them be. But the rest of y'all seriously need to go and just actually work on yourself, work on loving yourself, work on your boundaries, work on your discernment. Be in a relationship with you a little bit longer. Figure out who you are, what is it you want going from this day forth. Stop holding on the ideals of people. Stop holding on to the good in people, because I'm guilty of that too. I've had to work on that too. Loving the good out of somebody and blinding myself from the whole person. That always ended with wrong. Like literally you need to see the whole of the person. And if you don't fall in love with the whole in person, you don't love the whole person. You just love the idea of love, or you love the idea of that person or the potential that person can be. Then you got to sit there and tell yourself, is it worth being sitting here waiting for the potential to thrive, waiting for the potential to manifest? Because some of these people that you're in love with the potential of them and all this stuff, they don't see the potential in themselves. So are you going to be waiting forever for them to see that in themselves? Or are you going to make the decision, you know what, I love who you possibly could be, but you don't see it for yourself, so I need to move on. I need to love myself more to make the decision that I need to go find my happiness. I need these people to figure out what their happiness is outside of the person they came here with, and then move forward from there. Chris, Millie, Jodi, go seek therapy, please. Get some coaching, some counseling. Kojo is over here with the discount. We about to have group sessions, so y'all can come over here and be group sessions with us. We can all talk about it as a group, okay? If you don't want to do it, I mean, y'all on group therapy now, so y'all used to it already. So bring yourselves on over here. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get you where you need to be, baby. Like, all right, you know, y'all got that little check. Y'all got a little money, so y'all can pay him. Y'all can come pay Coach a little bit.
Yeah, listen. It's been cool. Like I said, I think it's a good, you know. It's been interesting to kind of see how people move, you know, and it's been interesting to see this episode. And actually, once I went a little bit deeper about it, I see there's a lot more stuff to kind of work through for a lot of people, I think, as well. But you know, I think what I would say is that, you know, hopefully that they actually do some work and they actually try to make the work. I hope they do a lot of work, and I hope they end up, you know, doing the work that's necessary to get them to the next stage, because there is hope for them. I'm not saying it's out there, Greg and Millie, there's hope for them. There's hope for Josh and Shay, you know, Dymond and Aaron, Aaron, Jody, maybe not. You know what I mean? Let's leave that alone. You know, and Chris and Sandia, as much as I don't like it, listen, if Sandia can find a voice, she might have a chance. But if I'm honest with you, no. Like, you ain't gonna find it in this relationship. Back the frick up. But, you know, there's a possibility. You know what I mean? It's I guess a 1 in a million chance. But you know, so what I would say is, you know, there's some couples here who can actually make it if you know, if actually the work is done, and that's the tough part. So they're gonna hopefully do that work. If not, you know, it's gonna be a very long and arduous road for them. So that being all said, yes, Jay.
Because Mia said 100%, but how many broken people figure this out by their 30s and 35? A lot of people figure it out. It's a matter of that they actually do the work on it. That's the thing. These people, they know they think. I think maybe this show might be the first step of actually trying to work on those things, but every last one of these people know it. So it's a matter of now deciding, let me actually put the effort in making these steps and these necessary changes that I need to make to be where I want to be, the growth that I need in myself.
That's it right there. And that's on that. Exactly. You got to put the work in. Okay. That's got to put the work in. But all right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Going to stay locked and stay loaded. I've just been working on, like I said, a few things behind the scenes. Like I said, we'll have a Patreon date on the 27th, I think it is, of June. And I'll send you guys a link on the community page. I've set it up so there's limited spaces. I think it's $10, less than $10. So, you know, if you want to sign up for that as well, Patreon Day is where we have a little late night conversations. We have a little group games, quizzes, vibes on vibes. So I'll tell you guys more about this tomorrow when I've actually like properly settled it. And then we've got our group sessions starting next week, which will be a weekly call in the morning for you guys in America. If you're EST or CST, it's going to be early. Okay. I didn't put it late. Yeah. I didn't want to put it after work. It's a straight in the morning work thing. You get me? The group sessions are going to be in the morning. Early bird catches the worm. Okay, y'all going to be getting it in the morning. So we're going to have our weekly group sessions in the morning. And it'll be a weekly thing on a Wednesday. So, you know, we want to get you guys into that space. I've got, I think, 20 spaces on the group calls as well. It's gonna be a little bit pricey. I don't even say it's not pricey. I'm not pricey, you know what I'm saying? See, I wouldn't do that to you guys, okay? All right. The knowledge I'm about to spit for you guys is gonna be amazing. You know what I'm saying to you? It's gonna be well worth the financial investment. But yeah, listen, you know, it's got some great content coming up and some great additives on the side that yes will be paid for, but you know, I think it'll really be helpful for you guys' growth and healing as well. So listen, it's been a great time. It's been amazing. And we're appreciative of the time we spent together, guys. Almost 2 hours and good conversations. I hope you guys have taken a lot from this as well. Share this with somebody else. Like, subscribe, click on that bell button. I'm going to take a nap like I should. I appreciate you guys. Stay locked. So we'll see you again soon. Baby!